XCN 0.004 to $2. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil. Keeping technical analysis short and sweet as always. And first and foremost, shout out to Tyler for becoming the first member of the channel. Always appreciate the donations. 50% is now going to save animals' lives. And I'll post the surgeries if you guys want to see them. For the people who cannot afford to save their animals. I did do this video just a few minutes ago and it only recorded 2 minutes. The iPad update is una mierda. It's just absolute garbage. But let's talk about it. Bitcoin completely oversold, volume picking up exponentially. It hit the last point that I was expecting it to go to and a little bit beyond. And I believe the best way to look at this is in the inverted scale. In my previous video, I feel like I was a little bit more informative. This video may not be as informative. Who knows if it'll record. But if you were a bear, you would probably be looking at exiting your position at this moment. Could we see that push to 73,000? Yeah, but not very likely as there are a lot of bull buyers within this area. We are way away from the 200 EMA, so I would expect this to be pulling back up to this area around 93,000, maybe pull back and test a higher low if you invert this scale, and then pushing back to new all-time highs, creating the altcoin season that we've been desperately waiting for a ridiculous time now. Now that the government has gotten their hands in crypto, there's a cryptocurrency reserve. If there's a cryptocurrency reserve, you can't expect Bitcoin to be dropping to zero when the government's printing trillions and buying Bitcoin with the trillions printed. With that being said, let's go over to XLM. For those of you who are here just for XCN, I'm going to pull up the chart because people like to scrub through and just look at the chart. But you should be looking at XLM because they are in correlation. Like I talked about in the previous video, there's Web 1, 2, and 3. And we are, with cryptocurrency, it's Web 3. When I started trading crypto, it was a real pain because you would buy it on, like, say, for Coinbase example, then you transfer over to MetaMask, do MetaMask, get into another platform, and then from that platform you could trade into another coin, and then you could stake that coin and earn ridiculous APY, like 129% like a day. It was just insane. Cash out, but then you have to transfer back to MetaMask and back to Coinbase and then transfer to your bank. Whole pain. And that's kind of what XCN is here for, because XLM is a layer into XRP, and things that they cannot do, XCN can do for them. So those of you who are panicking and freaking out that the market is bleeding out, don't, because XRP is completely, well, not all yet, but about to be completely oversold. ISO 222 is being implemented tomorrow. If you don't know what that is, do your own research. But in short, Swift banking system is what it used to be, where you would send money, say from America to Europe, it would go to 3 different banks to be transferred to your bank account. They're closed on the weekends. It's a real pain. XRP, imagine going to work and getting paid the moment you clock in. Say you're there for 5 minutes and you clock out, you get paid for that 5 minutes because of ISO 222. You can get paid for every single second that you are there working, which is pretty astronomically, I mean, I don't even have the words for it. That's awesome. Granted, they can be taking money out of your account easily, just as easy as they can be putting it in there. But within this time range where these orange lines are, ISO 222 is going to be implemented right before the next year, and you'll start seeing everything start switching over to cryptocurrency. That's what the government's doing. That's what this market manipulation is about, and that's kind of what we are dealing with for the future. For those of you who it's your first time in cryptocurrency and you just see your account being drained, don't worry, because XRP at $1.89 is extremely cheap. Bitcoin, if we go back in time in Bitcoin, is this still inverted? This is inverted. Back in time in Bitcoin, this hand right here was the time my boss, when I was working at the Maria shop, said, don't invest in Bitcoin. It's not going to do anything. I told her to go, screw herself, and kept investing in Bitcoin. And lo and behold, we went from 4,000 to 13,000 within a couple of months. And then, the bear market, all that good stuff. Going back in time, I first bought my first Bitcoin back here. I was first taught about Bitcoin back in 2015, became obsessed, and it's been a major part of my life ever since. I am a 90s baby, and, we had the good stuff. Climb trees, that kind of stuff. When technology comes in, XRP is essentially Bitcoin buying it at this price. So stack your bags as best you can. Bitcoin was pennies. You could get thousands of them for cheap. XRP is your opportunity to stack a bag and not touch it, because this will increase in price and continuously give you passive income from staking. Staking is where you take the coin, stake it on a platform or a bank or whatever it may be, and earn passive income. And since it is a cryptocurrency, it's not like the dollar where $1 is $1. $2 can be $5 in the upcoming months. $2 can be $15 and beyond. Within the next 10 years, or I guess 5 years, they say XRP can be $10,000. Debatable. I think it's highly possible to hit 1,000. So if you got $2 and you want to turn it into 1,000, that can earn you 2% or more from staking, XRP is your go-to. Don't miss out on stacking your bag of XRP and dollar cost averaging. This video is for the viewers who are about XCN, but you need to know the other parts of the market. XLM is a partner, more or less. I guess I can't say that, but they're in correlation, XCN and XLM is in correlation with XRP. XCN, same thing. Invert the scale if you use TradingView. And me personally, it helps substantially to change the color of your bars. Red and green gives you anxiety. For me, orange and blue, caution. Don't worry about it. But there is the possibility to have that liquidity sweep down here to 0.03. And I believe once we hit that area, we could go here and it's a bear trap, and we could immediately head back in to this red line and then start building up, get a little rejection off this 200 EMA that's coming down. However, looking at the previous, let's go here, previous area, what happened? We came and there was no real resistance besides like this one touch, maybe two touches, and then just boom, blast. 225% increase in price, did not get any resistance off that 200 EMA. We can see the same thing. Even if we see that liquidity sweep, we can be pushing back up into this red area, and then the 200 EMA will be curving downwards, and we can just blast right through that. But I believe we are going to get some resistance on this downward red trend line here at a penny more or less. Let's revert the scale, remove the lines, get rid of all that, invert. This is the way the chart normally looks. So I'm talking a little bit more than the previous video. Hopefully it records all this. But I believe we may still have that sweep. But Bitcoin is starting to build a base. So this is kind of where you keep all the market charts in mind. It's not just one coin. Bitcoin owns all. And let's move to the actual point where we are at. Many years of experience, and we had the liquidity sweep. Look at this volume. The volume is picking up. It is dropping, but the RSI is getting to be completely oversold. And when purple crosses over yellow, you start seeing, like for example, we had this purple crossed over yellow, and what happened looking at the market up here, 109,000 all the way up to $120,000. So we are getting completely oversold. Purple will have to start cross over yellow unless it gets resistance and pushes back to completely oversold, which I think is irrational. I believe we are going to be pulling back up, maybe testing that as support, and then having that continuation and setting off the altcoin season. And you will start seeing exponential gains for almost every altcoin, hundreds of percent day after day, because you suffered through this 100% pullback. This is the downward channel for XLM. I believe we are going to be testing within this range. It can't really go much lower than this area. RSI completely oversold. We just need a little bit of volume, and this thing will start pulling back up within this channel. And I believe once this downward trend line breaks, we can be seeing it push up to 0.46 cents again, and then beyond to 0.64. Beyond 0.64, it's a major cup and handle playing out within a cup and handle playing out. So this thing can be ripping to new all-time highs. $1.36 from a 22-cent investment is astronomical. If you're stacking XCN, you should be having a big or bigger bag of XRP. XCN is very cheap and has very, very major high potential to start hitting that all-time high of 18 cents. Keeping in mind, using Fibonacci, let's draw this Fibonacci from that previous high to the low. Resistance is here at 0.015, and this downward trend line being around 0.012. We will probably get a little bit of resistance here before that breaks, and then getting support off that 200 EMA. We're going to see a pump like we saw with that 2,000% back here in January. And with that pump, the next real resistance is a 0.02. For those of you who are using your phone and can't see very well, 0.032. Keeping in mind there's a little resistance here at 0.027 before 0.032. And then I think we may bypass this 0.786 and go to the full one retracement at 0.049. Get some major resistance, test around 0.038 or even lower before ripping up to the previous high being around 10 cents. Keeping in mind, we may get a little resistance here around 0.07. So there's a long way to go for XCN, completely oversold. We haven't seen this for quite a while. And with the iPad update, my iPad's lagging out. And that's kind of what we are expecting for XCN. So hold on tight. For those of you who it's your first time in crypto, this is normal. It's a bear trap. We are going to see this thing rip to new all-time highs. Donate if you'd like. Become a member if you like. I am going to take your advice, Tyler, and set up a Patreon account for people who want to converse with me one-on-one or get specific updates. There will be that link in the reference below. And also with MEXC, using that reference link, you get 20 USDT for free. And like and subscribe. Good luck. Have fun with it. Hopefully within these next couple days, we will see some major movement.